Shishira, let me know once record starts.
Yes, it is started. Lovely. Please open it. Yeah.
Okay. So, hi everyone. Welcome to the day 4 session where we will be talking about user interface automation. I'm Lovely. I have 4 years of experience in UiPath, and along with me, Shishira is there with us, along with Vibhor. Okay. So, as a business user, you interact with a lot of different applications like internet browsers, calculators, CRM. So, today's agenda is to how you automate some of those interactions. So we will talk about user interface automation, and also we will see how to store the credentials for applications as well. And along with that, we will have a use case to develop, and then we will close it by tips and trick and the Q&A. So first, what is user interface? It is a series of screen, pages, and visual elements like buttons and input fields. So, whenever you interact with an application, you either provide the data to it by typing into the fields or you perform click operations as such. So, either the way you interact with an applications. So, all interactions that in the user interface can be split into two: input and output. So if you're sending or adding something to the applications, it is considered as an input scenario. Whereas if you are getting something from an applications, let's say data from an application itself, that could be something as an output scenario. So Studio X through its activities pack, it mimics the way you interact with an application and recognizes the interface elements irrespective of position, resolution, or a font size. So this way, it will help you to automate most common UI interactions. So in Studio X, you will see app web card, okay, where the different type of activities or actions would be available, which can help you to perform in your automation. Okay, so let me first open the Studio X and create a blank task. So I go to the activities panel and here is my app web card. So where you will see there are resources, there are actions, and actions as in different activities that can help you to perform in an automation. Okay. So we will use the different actions, activities, and the resources for our automation use cases. So let's create one. To learn the target and anchors, we will use a use case having double UI application, and we will see the different concepts related to user interface automation. So first, it would be something to talk about which is called target. So UI element looking to use in the process is considered as a target. Okay. So if you are trying to type into a field and that field is considered as a target where you are guiding the bot to interact with. So let's start the automation. And for that, we will first decide which type of activities we should use. So we go to the app web card and we see there is a resources called as use application browser. So to start with your automation process, you have to drag and drop the use application browser. This will capture the application or the browser details. Okay. So I have my activities available here. So this is the application which I would like to automate, where I will be providing a value in the cash in field, honest check field, not honest check field. And once I provide the input, I have to click on the accept and then get the transaction number. So we will see how a bot can interact with this application with the UI automation concept. Okay, to start with, first we have to decide the resource activity. So use application browser is the activity to interact with an application. I click on indicate application to automate, and here you see there is a blue window. So it is highlighting the application. So you just click at any area of the window and you will see that bot identifies the application path. So since it is an exe, it actually captures the entire path of an application. In the application arguments, sometimes in few of the startup applications, we do pass the parameters. However, here it is not recommended because it already launches the application, and it is so intelligent that it also identifies whether the title is the same or not. So if anytime you're looking for automating in the double UI, you can provide a condition that it should matches the exact title as double UI. So in case if there are some other applications, so that it can avoid it. So this is the first step to start with UI automation, where you choose the application path by using use application browser activity. Now, the next step is to type in some value here. Okay, so we go to the activities panel again, search for an activity, something related to type in. I drag the type into activity and place it inside the use application. So there is one more thing needs to be taken care. In case if you are trying to automate inside the user interface applications, you need to make sure that you drag and drop the activities inside this use application itself. So this is the scoping which needs to be taken care of. If you try to provide the type into activity outside this container, the bot will not be able to identify the exact element which where you want to automate. Okay. Now here it says type into indicate target on screen. So target is something which where you are guiding the bot to interact with and provide the data. Okay, so activities like click, type into, it have been enhanced through unified method of targeting UI elements for automation. Okay, so there are many technologies or method that facilitate the UI interaction. So we will see those different technologies. So as of now, we click on indicate target on screen. Okay, and this is the field where I would actually like to provide an input. I click over here. So the green one is referred as the target, where the bot is expected to provide an input. Whereas we have something in the blue color item which is called as anchor. So anchor are the reference name that help to identify the exact target. So even if in a manual scenario you are looking forward to provide a cache in value, you will first look for a reference label name, and then to the corresponding field you would be providing the data. Similarly, in the UiPath itself, the bot first tries to find the target based on the anchor. Okay, so you can choose the anchor very intelligently so that it doesn't change always. Now you can validate by clicking in this validate option, and you can see that the value, the green color target, is the fixed one. If you find it is okay and reliable, then you can choose confirm. In case if you are looking forward to add more anchors, then you can click on the add anchor option and then choose the different label that you think which could be stable. However, anchors are not mandatory option, but it is good that you give an option for the bot to identify based on the anchor as well. So maximum up to 3 you can create anchors for any particular target. And once you click on validate, you can click on confirm. So this is the way where you interact with the applications based on the target and the anchor concept. So right now I can just provide in a value by going to the plus section and the text. I provide a random value right now. Click on save. So let's do the same activity for the next field as well. I drag the type into activity, place it inside the use app browser container, indicate target on screen, and now I choose the second field, which is the second target for me. And then it also automatically finds the corresponding anchor. However, if you're not satisfied with it, you can go to the settings and then add more anchors. So as of now, this looks fine. I just click on validate and click on confirm. Similarly, I can provide the next values. Okay. Now, in the application, after providing cash in and honest check, I would like to perform the click operation. Okay, to accept the input whatever we have provided. So I go back to the activities, drag the click activity, indicate target on screen, choose the corresponding button. Now here if you see there are two more options, settings and delete target. So in case if you have chosen a wrong target, you can delete it. If you are looking forward to customize this target properties more, you can choose the settings property. Okay, and here there are various technologies or the methods that facilitate UI interaction like selector, fuzzy selector, image. So we will see this what is the selector and the fuzzy selector in detail. As of now, you can just relate that every target or the every element has their own attributes and properties, okay, which the UiPath bot has automatically captured it and use this information in order to interact with these buttons. Okay, so I just click on validate and you see that it is the green color. You can click on confirm. Okay, so this is the way you interact with the different buttons or the fields in the application. So we have seen about the target and the anchors. So UI elements that helping to identify the target specifically are called as an anchors. The attributes shouldn't change in the application. You have to take care that the attributes are static. So generally we refer the label in an application as the anchors, which are never changing values. Up to 3 anchors you can add for any particular target. You can edit or remove the anchors as well. So the other properties which you have while interacting with the action items, you can see the show all matches option or the image selection mode. So I will show you these two as well. So let's take a scenario where I have to type in the third activity, which is not honest check. Okay, so I go to the activity section, drag the type into activity before the click operation. I click on the indicate target on screen, choose the third option. Now, if I go to the settings, I see that there is a property called show all matches for the selector as well as fuzzy selector. So I click on them. So based on the selector properties, it looks for the similar matches of the same target. Okay. So where it looks for the similar properties of the fields which bot can interact with. And this is just for making the selectors reliable. So it can help you to find all matches for the selected element that can be found in an automated application. So you can use this tool to debug the selectors or the UI descriptors for it. So let me show you again for show all matches for the fuzzy selector. So if I choose the fuzzy selector in the show all matches, I see that there are three fields. So there are three fields which has the similar property in terms of fuzzy selector. And this way you can choose which of the element you would like to interact with. And if it is a different, then you can again go and validate the target again or indicate it accordingly. So this is the property for the show all matches. The third is image automation. So even with the help of selector and the image, bot even tries to interact with an application as well. So even based on the image, bot can identify certain fields so that there is a reliable selector or the reliable activity to perform with it. So this is the property for the show all matches. And in case if in an application, let's say you're working on an SAP and we see that there are scenarios where the selectors are not reliable, right? So in that scenario, you can choose the different technology like image selection mode. So you can press F3 or you can continue over here, and then you see that there is a red color rectangular box, and it can help you to identify the anchor or the different fields as well. So since for me the target was the third field, I just drag and drop the image based on the image selection mode as an anchor, and I was able to add another anchor as well. So I click on confirm, and this way in the property section it has captured the anchors as well along with the fuzzy selector and the selector. So the entire technology and the methods which is basically useful for interacting with the user interface applications has been captured in the properties side. So maybe I can explain it again for this part. So I indicate the target on screen again. I choose the field, right? So this is the first way that you can directly identify the target and the anchor. In case if you would like to customize it more, you go to the settings, okay, and choose the particular properties, like let's say for this particular element I do not want a fuzzy selector, I just want a selector and an image. Based on these two technology, my bot will able to identify this element. So you can click on validate and see whether based on these two factors it is able to identify or not. Okay, so selectors are something which are the values for each element which having an web attributes. So whenever there is a development in the web applications, we see that there are different attributes, web attributes like control or the AA name or the different properties of each field, right? So based on that web attributes which has been captured by the bot, it tries to interact with the target applications. However, in the fuzzy selector, we see that there is a selected accuracy as well, and it tries to identify the target based on the string and pattern. Okay, so in case if there are certain fields which has the similar properties and there is not much difference in it, then you can choose fuzzy selector instead of selector, and then you can also provide the selector accuracy, so which ranges from 0.1 to 1. 1 is the uh, most suited match, whereas zero point 0.1 is the least suited match. So you can choose the different technology itself. However, if you directly try to indicate the items on the screen, it bot automatically captures the most reliable selectors accordingly. In case if you're looking forward to customize it, you can choose by setting option and then uncheck the required values and then customize it. So here, let's say I choose fuzzy selector and the image, I click on confirm. This way I can provide an input to the not honest check value. Let me give a dummy value right now. That's it. So now I would like to get the transaction number after it has been accepted. Okay. And to do that, I go back to the Studio X, track the activity, get text. So this is an activity that can extract the text from this any target. I put it after the click accept, indicate the target on screen, and then I choose the correct element. So this is the element where I would like to get the data from. And then to add the anchors, you can choose the respective label and then click on confirm. To save this data, you go to the plus. In case if you're looking forward to save the data in an Excel file or notebook, Scratchpad, you can do. Otherwise, you can save for later use. Give an appropriate name or you can choose the default name as well. Hit OK. And let's say I want to display it in a message box. So I go to the message box and then use the saved value and then text from the getText. So this is the output what we got from the getText activity. Okay. One more thing to add, in case if you are working with the different applications, multiple applications which has some pattern, then you can also use wildcards in your selectors. So maybe for now we can run this bot and we will see that particular example in another use case. So let me run it. And here you go. So this is the transaction number which it has fetched. So the takeaway for this exercise was that how you interact with different fields based on which all technologies or the methods, and you can perform the automation accordingly. Okay. So next use case what we have as a generate password activity. So we have an Excel which will have certain rows and we need to go to the URL to get the password. And once we fetch the password from the application, I have to save this password in an Excel. Okay. And in this activity, we will also, since we have already seen the selectors and the fuzzy selectors, let me reiterate. So selectors are used to store the attributes of each element or the target. And fuzzy selectors, it has an additional capability to find the certain element based on pattern, based on the string. So in case if you are trying to add more reliability to the element selectors, you can choose fuzzy selector as well. Okay. So you can add multiple attributes in the fuzzy selector section. Okay. So now we will see the next example where we have the URL. Okay. And we have an input data sheet as well. So what we have to do is pick the data, check whether we have the field in the temporary password as a blank. If it is blank, then we have to get the data from the application and put it over here. Okay. So since we know that there are all blanks, maybe we can skip the if logic part. We can directly get the password from an application and directly save it. Okay. So now to start with another task project, I go back and click on the blank task. Okay. So the first thing is to open the browser. So we use the use application browser again, and we make sure that we have the browser opened along with the uh, website URL. In case if not, then we have to press F2 as a shortcut key so that it gives a 5 seconds delay to a developer to open such application manually. Okay. So indicate the application to the browser and I indicate the website URL. So automatically bot is able to capture the URL. So in this example, we can see that some way or other there could be a chances that the title of the page may get changed. Maybe we have something like password reset generator. Okay. So in case if you are working with such a dynamic applications, then we should use selectors, wildcards in the selectors as well. Okay. So generally in the Studio X, since we are automating a simple task automation, this can be skipped, but it's good to know about the different properties of the selectors as well, right? So instead of, let's say, in the coming release of this particular URL, we see that the title of the page gets changed, right? So as a developer, you should also understand that how different situations can be handled in your existing code as well. So what I could do is we can introduce the wildcards. Okay. So wildcards are something that looks for a certain pattern.
Lovely. There is a question that Andrew is saying if you can explain this, or if you could explain on F2 bit, please.
Okay, I'll do that. Okay. So let's say that I have a multiple tabs open. Okay. And I am right now trying to indicate the application again. So right now this is not the exact window open for me. So what I can do is I can press F2. It gives me a 5 seconds timer, and meanwhile I can open my exact window to capture on the screen. Okay. So this is the uh, F2 functionality, and since I have switched the application, I can indicate in a right way itself. Okay. So in case if you do not have any applications opened in the foreground, you can press F2 and then switch the applications manually. Hope it was I hope it answered your query. Okay. So now we have to basically go to the application and fetch this password and then put it inside this Excel sheet. Okay. So to do that, what we have to do is we will first interact with an applications, because right now we have skipped the logic if part. So what we will do is we will go to this application and then first click on the reset password, because we never know that this password was already taken, right? So it's better to generate a new password and then get the data from this application. Okay. So I indicate the target on screen and then I can drag somewhere and then I can choose the correct target. Okay. So this is the button which I would like to use for reset. I click over here. Now, if you see that automatically the bot has not identified the anchor because it couldn't find any such label or the references that can help to identify the target element. So you can skip this part. Otherwise, if you think that there are some other labels like create a strong password, this could be a static label for us as an anchor, right? So you choose over here and then click on confirm. So you can validate as well. So it just to give a confirmation, and now you click on confirm. So the bot is expected to first click on the generate new password, and then it has to get the password using the same activity what we discussed in the previous example. Get text, indicate target on screen, and this time you have to identify the element where you have to get the password. Okay, and then again there is no anchor, so this time we can skip since it is not mandatory. To save this password, right now we have not introduced an Excel, so we should actually store this password in an Excel. So what we can do is we go to the Excel card, okay, and use the use Excel file resource before the get text activity, just to ensure that we are using an Excel and the text what we are getting to be stored in an Excel file. Okay, so I go to the path and then choose the exact file where I would like to save the data. Okay, and now I can drag and drop the get text activity and put it inside the Excel. And this Excel is also placed inside the app web because we are interacting with the application and then taking the information from that application, putting it in the Excel. Okay, so that is why we have used use Excel file inside the app web activity. Okay, and get text is placed inside the use Excel file because we are trying to get the data from application and we are directly saving it in an Excel. Okay, so I go to the Excel activity and now I can choose indicate in Excel. So this will iterate, it will perform this operation only for one particular cell, which is D2, right? It is not going to iterate the similar activity by fetching an application and saving it. To do that, we will have to use an activity called Excel for each row. So it has been renamed in this. So we have an activity called for each Excel row. And now we will put it inside the get text because the same operation we need to perform for the entire rows available in an Excel. Okay. So in this range, I have to provide the Excel, which sheet I should pick the data from. So it is the password, and then I have to save to. So this time I know that instead of directly saving in a cell, I have to actually perform the save operation for entire rows on this particular D column. So I go back here plus current row and then choose D. So I can see that the headers were not recognized. It is instead it is named as ABCD because I didn't choose the has header option. Okay. So in case if now I have chosen it, I can see that it has been renamed as in temporary password, which is my exact column name. Okay. Save it. Now I will close this Excel file and run this. Okay. So there is one more mistake which I did, that I should also place this click activity inside the use Excel file because the same before fetching the exact data, we should also perform a click so that this will keep on generating a new password and then putting it in an Excel file. So I just have to go here, right click, cut, and then put it before the get text operation. So let me just rerun it. Okay, So let's see the Excel file. And this time we have got the unique temporary passwords. Okay. Fine. Now we have another use case where we are going to this time read the data from an Excel, trying to put it in a website and then save the data. Okay. So I have the URL over here. So what I have to do is bot is expected to click on the new supplier, read the data from an Excel and provide it in these fields. So basically it is interacting with a different type of type into fields, and then it has to scroll down and then click on the save. Okay. So let's do this task automation. So I go to the home section, go to the blank task again, click on create. Okay. So I start with the Excel resource first because we have to read the data first. Use Excel file. I provide the path of a file. It's always best practice to choose the reference name as a different alias name for your Excel sheet. Okay. And now let me open the sheet also. So we have to perform the multiple rows. Maybe what I can do is I can just, there are multiple, so we'll just do it for the two operations, or let's take it one. So now we have to use the application browser. Since right now we are not doing the multiple iteration, we are just performing for a single row activity. I use the use application browser. Indicate application to automate. So right now my application is not active. I press F2, gives a 5 seconds delay, and then I come back in this window and I select it now. So I indicate the browser so that the URL is being captured, and now I have to perform a click, drag the click activity, put it inside the browser, indicate target on screen, choose the new supplier. You need to ensure that these are the stable attributes. So you can go to the settings and choose accordingly. So here no anchor, separate anchor has been taken. So we'll see if it doesn't work, we will change the anchor. So now to automate the next step, I'll just manually click on the new supplier. Okay. And this time we have to type in the into the application. So drag the type into activity. Indicate the target on screen, and we have to provide the correct target. So this is the place where I have to provide the internal name. I select over here, and itself automatically bot has identified the correct anchors. Okay. And then click on confirm. Now, what data should be provided? It is coming from a data in Excel data, right? So I go to the plus section, Excel input, and since there are no multiple rows, I cannot see the different columns available. So what I will do is I'll just indicate in Excel. So there is a prerequisite. You must install the Excel add-in to get this feature. Okay. So now I choose the exact cell where I want the data to be picked and then click confirm. So bot has identified the exact sheet and the cell name. And now what I can do is, so I will just provide the internal name, and now I have to scroll down to click on the save operation, right? So there is an activity called keyboard shortcut. Okay? And I click on the record shortcut and then I press the shortcut key from my keyboard. This way you can provide the shortcut keys inside this an activity. And now I have to choose the click operation again. Indicate target on screen. Click on save. Confirm. Okay. So in the property section, we will see that the different selectors and the if in case there is an anchor will also get added up. So in the property section for each activities, you will see that different configurations for each target has been captured. Okay, let me save it and close this file and run this part. So I will just ensure that I close the Excel and the window as well. Yeah, so this way I was able to interact with the different applications, whether it is a desktop applications like WUI or the web-based browser. One more thing, in an output, we see that there are different input mode. So these are the different technologies which is available, and this we will take up in the tips and tricks how you can enhance your automation more. Okay. So now we have seen the how to interact in any interface applications. The next thing is we will also come across a scenario where we have to log in into an application, right? So where user has to provide the username and password. So in an attended automation where it gives a flexibility for a user to provide the username and password as well. However, if the user do not want to intervene, bot can directly fetch the user name and password from a credential manager logic. So every Windows has the Windows Credential Manager, and UiPath, with the help of UiPath activity, it actually builds a bridge between the studio and the Windows Credential Manager to store the credentials as well as to retrieve the credentials from the Windows Credential Manager itself. Okay. So what I will show you is now we have a scenario where we have to log into this Acme portal, okay, by giving the credentials. Now, these credentials need to be stored with the help of an activity called as get username and password. So I go to the home again, create a blank task. Code. Okay, to start with, we have to first get the username and password. I drag the activity over here. Okay, so Windows credential is something that you have a credential manager where you can manually store it, or you can ask the bot to store this credentials with the help of get username and password activity. Okay, so you go to this add, update or remove existing credentials and click on add credential. Okay, it's the similar way like how you save your username and passwords in your mobile phone or the any other browsers. You first provide the reference name to it, or you can provide the URL. So I can just provide the Acme login credential. The same name, you will find it in the credential manager. So with this name, it will actually store your username and password in the credential manager. Okay, I just provide my username, password. Okay, and I provide my password and then click on OK. So this password is an encrypted form and you will not be able to decrypt it. However, if you see the show password option, you will be able to see it. But this is only for your specific scenario. And now you can save it for later use. Click OK. So after you run it, it will actually create a credential manager. It will actually create a store the credentials by the name of Acme login credential in your credential manager. Okay. Now to start with the login application, you actually have to go to the use application browser, indicate application to automate, choose the respective window properly, and now you have to type in the username and password field, which is the email. Okay, so here it has taken the anchor automatically. I choose it confirm. Now to type in, I actually have to use the saved value, the same credential from the get username and password. Okay, and choose the username. Similarly, we have to type in the password by indicate target on screen, choose the respective target, click on confirm, and type this what value you want to type in. So it is the password. Okay, so you choose the similar way. Now I have to perform a click operation, indicate target on screen. I choose the login button, confirm, and here you go. So let me just rerun the bot. So it basically gives a 10 seconds timer as well, where you, in case if their password has been changed, you can directly change it and also update the stored credential inside the credential manager itself. Okay, so sometimes if you feel lazy to change the password in the credential manager, you can use this activity as well to directly update the password in this credential manager with the help of this activity. Okay, so now I click OK. It actually types the username, the email and password. But we will also sometimes looking forward to see whether the application, whether there was successful login or not, right? So there is an activity called check app state, okay, where it will check whether the certain page was loaded or not, certain element is appeared or not, so that you can proceed with the next step. So it is always good to have a validation check in this user interface automation just to ensure that page was loaded successfully, and then you can handle lesser exceptions. So there is an activity called check app state. Okay, you drag it after the login. Now you have to indicate the target. So now you have to see that which of the element are the static one which is not going to change. So if I choose this, it may be incorrect, because this is not the reliable one. The username keeps on changing, right? So we will choose the dashboard. It's a label that is, I do not think that is going to change very sooner. So I click on confirm. Now you have an option whether you want certain element to appear or you disappear. Then you can choose accordingly. So I would say that if the certain dashboard element appears to me within, let's give a number, maybe 5 seconds, then I have to proceed with the next activity by, let's say I just use a message box and put a text like successful login. Or in case I would like to provide my username as well, then I can choose plus option, use the saved value, credential and user. Okay, so this way you can also get the input from the credential manager and use it in your flow. Now I save it and then I run it. So it was signed. Let me log out first because it gives me an option. I click OK. And you can see the email is being available here. So this is the validation. And there is one thing to note. If you see in the properties of the get username and password, there is a timer which you can change, auto submit timeout seconds, which you can change in case you would like to give the user some 30 seconds to provide the input, then you can choose the appropriate timeout value. Okay. So this was all about the app credential management, how you can store the credentials into the credential manager. Okay. So going to the next, we have a tips and tricks on this user interface automation. So now I will hand over to Shishira.
Sure. Maybe lovely if you stop sharing, I'll take it to the session.
Yes.
I said if you can stop sharing.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do that. Sorry.
Sure. And before I go, there is a question: do you always have to click on OK for the password, as this doesn't seem to be fully automated? You don't
Yeah.
need to always.
So there is no options as configurable right now that you can hit the OK button. So it will always give a user option to choose to hit an OK button as of now.
Okay, so let me. A few of the stuff which you may need to take into account while you're developing, there are certain things which can help to optimize or make your work easier or robust. Start with one is in the input method. So if you see any activity you're bringing in UI automation, there will be input or output activities. When it is input, basically whether you're performing click, type, and all this will be part of input. At that time, we do have option to set whether how you want to check the behavior of the input method, whether you want it should be done completely in background so that it somewhere not interacting with the user, or user and robot is working together. Some cases it should be in the foreground, but based on the application behavior, there are three different options being available as input method. So the two which is like widely used is hardware event and simulate. There are certain restrictions over it, so we'll understand a bit. So hardware event is definitely a slower one. It is not faster as compared to simulate, but the work both hardware event and simulate done in background. Hardware events are basically it is leveraging the hardware driver. It is attached to the application and mostly available for all the applications which is there. So the other end is simulate, which is faster, but there is a restriction on simulate type is because it will not support shortcut. Like there is a keyboard shortcut you want to send, let's say I press F1, F2, Alt, Enter, and all. So that will treat those as a text. So it only works on left click. That's the challenge, and sometimes it may not support it in all the applications. And same as browser, which is a default, like you most of the time you see those are used, which is indicate and it takes what is inherited within the same resource and application. But it's always to check those property whenever you are dragging these input methods, which can act as a background activity for you. Like it saves the time, because the moment you automate, there will be challenges to say, okay, it is bringing on my front end and it's disturbing the user. So using simulate and hardware event, you will see those activity can be done in background. The second is use of recorder. Depending on your version, you will see this options available and all. And with the upgraded version, it will by default. If not, then you can go to this enable recorder if you are in an older version and activate it. So the reason of using app and web recorder is this creates the workflow automatically. Like there are two ways to create your activity. Either you go to Studio, drag Studio X, drag your activities one after another into development panel or the development space. Otherwise, you use app recorder. and perform the actions like whatever is required in your action, and then it will create the entire skeleton for you. After that is done, you can go and modify the variables, or well, let's say the values what needs to be entered, or maybe optimize further, but that create a skeleton at one go. So that's where it will improve, it will turn around time, the time it takes to develop. And sometimes you may be not aware what activity is best fitting on this particular place. At that time, app record is the best to select, because it will do your work. Like, it will identify which activity to choose. Maybe it will give you the in like it will suggest which application it is the best to go with application domain you selected. The last one is the few more is in terms of the dynamic selector. One of the common challenge with um, Studio, like StudioX, you'll be facing is how do you click on element if it is dynamic? Like today, you indicate on a screen, and that screen maybe it is the values are fixed, and we know it is click on that. But think about a scenario where the selectors needs to be modified and dynamic. And there is a question. Let me pick that.
There's
Sorry.
not a question. Sushil.
Okay, so the dynamic selector, I'll show you a quick scenario. For example, let me open one of site, Amazon.com, let's say. And here, assume I need to click on some of the element, let's say one of this, and your value to click is coming from Excel or some external source. Like if you know there is no fixed place, but it has to be selected from a Excel file. Or let's say you have some external reference where it's incremental value one after another, it has to click. So that time you need some references to save. Let me clean up my space, and let's say I indicate on my browser, like W was presenting the way to automate. So this is the browser I want to click on, but ideally these values are dynamic. We may not know where to click. Let's say here also it is one of the scenario where the inputs would come from Excel file or some other references where phrase mobile, fashion, electronics has to be selected dynamically. And that time, if you say click, or you have to rely on those if else and multiple conditions, making it complicated. So the way to you select is basically, let's say I select on this phrase, or maybe select on this text. Okay, so this indicated whatever is needs to be done. Now, if you see the selector properties, however it is being defined, there are basically fuzzy selectors. You can go to this target section and start exploring. Okay, this is my fuzzy selector, or let's say this is my selector, which is coming from these properties of anchor and all. So how do I pass some dynamic value? For that, with 20.10 release, there is a new option available for you that's called value mapping. So go to this gear icon on top of your resource and define some selectors, like some variables. We call this some values to help you. Let's say we create as a temporary counter, a temporary name. And this same value can be referenced with the Excel file as well. Like currently there is a default which is Noteback available. If there is an Excel file you have, the same Excel can be referred and that value can be mapped. Or it can be some static text as well. So you can give some sample name if you know that. And it has to be by default. If it is dynamic scenario, the normal scenario should come from Excel file. So I save that temp name. I know we are over time, just to explain the scenario, just explaining. Now here, if you want to modify this particular selector and use some variable, see if this is now available as a name to you. This is the variable we declare, and it is now available as references for you. Now here also you can select this option, and you can use the variable. Suppose I want to make this title as dynamic, or let's say a name is dynamic. So at that time you can define and select from a declared variable what you did in top. Whatever you are declared there, it will dynamically assign instead of a static name. It come as a temp name which we declare. But make sure in order to use this, it has to be declared on the gear icon. In that way, this entire scenario will become dynamic, where you don't need to have some hard coding reference, but sometimes there would be scenarios where this click elements or type element will be modified based on some input. So that is one key actions, important point to take into account whenever you are doing some dynamic selection or dynamic click. It has to come from those advanced feature introduced with the new version. And as Lovely mentioned, the app state to check if there is any page load which takes a lot of time. Those are the areas where you might use check after. And some ways you might need to have some manual action. For example, let's say bot is running and middle you have to do some manual action. After that, bot continue the next step. In those are the areas, the message box will help you a lot. Like you put those message box, that is nothing but holding a screen until you perform some confirm action, right? So it will hold the screen, you do the manual action and click on OK on the message box, and from there the bot will continue to the next step. So I've seen this is really very helpful. For example, there is a common scenario. Let's say you are entering a password, but basically you have not used credential manager, but there is a login screen open. At that time, your password should enter manually. What you can do, put a message box there saying manually enter the password, and user will manually fit the password and click on OK message box, and then bot can continue from that step. So message box will help you in a way that a human and bot working together, where some steps where human judgment is required, this is going to add those flavor on your code. All right, so that's some tips and tricks which will help to optimize your code and make it to next level. So with that, maybe if there are any question, we are open for that. There are other session coming up. We are going for next 3 to close the entire drive, but there are certain next is on word automation. So I request all of you to subscribe to that, and PDF, and the last one is on standard and best practice. Any question, comments, which we can clarify?
I see there is a question, which are the attributes which are dynamic?
Okay, so which are the attributes which dynamics? Maybe if I'm not clear on the question, but let me show you what I was just trying to say in the dynamic section. So if you go to this particular property, value mapping, create the attribute based on your requirement. Like I create a variable here, multiple attributes you can define, and that will act as a dynamic selector to your activity. I see some chat. Okay. So that is clear. There is no fixed attribute. You have to create your own attribute set or value mapping under this section, and that can act as a dynamic. Maybe where you can apply this, if that to explain, there will be scenario, as I said, this example where you may not know where to click, but it has to come from a input file. So at that time, the click property will only vary based on this name, let's say phrase, mobile, fashion, and electronics. And based on your input, you are just providing those. Some of the attribute could be a name is a dynamic property which will modify, your ID will modify. Those are the attributes makes more time, or else it could be title, which are making it dynamic properties. Hope that answers. Any other question? Okay, great.